Hey everybody, how is everybody doing out there? Where did we leave off? I'm going to continue right from where we left off last Sunday. How would you like that? Um, we always talk about great stuff here on the Addicted to Gear live Sunday show, and I'm always raring to go, and sometimes I don't finish, what we talked about last week. So why not continue from there? How's everybody doing? All good? Who guessed I'd be playing the Jackson today? Anybody? I didn't see any guesses in the chat. Maybe I missed some of them here. But I don't think anybody. I think you guys forgot to guess. Somebody's not paying attention. Welcome, guys. Thank you for getting up so early on a Sunday just to join in on the chat. I always appreciate you guys, and always happy to see you here. So we have lots of stuff to talk about once again. David says he missed last week. No worries, David. Well, you can catch up. And yeah, the red on this guitar is really nice, Vinny. I agree. It's got a really nice. It's got a little sparkle in it. It's not exactly a candy apple red, but kind of under the right light. Yeah. So this is a Jackson I picked up a few years ago. Spur of the moment. Let me just get this out of the way. Spur of the moment decision to buy this one because it was so inexpensive. I think I paid it $199 at the time, and made a couple of mods to it. Changed the pickups primarily, but these are great guitars. And I'm going to be posting a video on this guitar tomorrow. And I'm going to explain my love-hate relationship with Jackson guitars. Anybody here own a Jackson besides me? And if you own a Jackson, specifically the Jacksons without the Floyds, you'll probably understand the struggle. But the video that I created, which I'll post tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning, explains it all. So you can actually take a look at that. So good morning, everybody. Let me go down the list. I always feel a little bit like I'm not welcoming enough if I don't greet everybody here. So Gene is here. He says no Jackson. Cushman, Cool Tune, Searching for Tone. Jack, Rexomatic. Rex says he's playing a Gretsch today. Shane is here. And Shane says Boss Pedal micro transactions is getting no love online. We'll talk about the Boss Pedal soon. I looked at that as well. I have my own comments and theories on that. Presley is here. Presley says coffee and weed. Patrick, Ken says good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tony. I hope everyone is doing well. We're doing okay so far, Ken. Let's see how the day progresses. And Shane says, I will guess for next week. Next week is the Tokai. Shane's putting in the guesses ahead of time. Gene said he guessed the candy apple red Telecaster. Yeah, not today. Not today. All right. I'm just scrolling down quickly just to see if there's any comments I missed. You guys always have conversations before I come online, so I always like to catch up. Gene says, I'm playing my Made in Mexico Fat Strat in British Racing Green with Duncan pickups. It doesn't sound like a Strat. It doesn't sound like a Strat for sure if it's a Fat Strat. Okay, any other comments? Gene says, yes, it has quarter-pound singles and a trembucker in the bridge. And Gene says, I'm uploading my sport card collection on another computer, then heading to a barbecue later to jam with friends. Cool. All right. Well, Um, let's start off the show. Questions? Any updates? Anything you guys want to get off your chest and share with me today? Alonzo says your Jackson looks a lot like my Ibanez Roadstar. I used to have a Roadstar, Alonzo. The early ones, Roadstar 2. Great guitars. Thank you for joining us, Alonzo. I think you're new here. I haven't seen your name too often. Jack owns the Jackson without the Floyd. So Jack, you probably understand the limitations of this guitar better than others here. So the video I'll post tomorrow, you might want to pay attention to. Vinny also says he has a couple, one with and one without the Floyd. Shane says, no Jackson here. I'm an ESP Ibanez guy. All right. Cool. Very cool. Good morning, Warhart. Nice to see you, man. I have a barbecue get-together this afternoon also. Gene, it's a beautiful day here, so hopefully it'll turn out really, really well. Not too hot. No, not one cloud in the sky this morning. Nice and sunny. So I'm looking forward to it. Warhart says, I almost have everything I need to fix my chips in. So what are you not fixing on your chips in? I know that oftentimes people are upgrading chips ins. You know, the pickups are usually the common things, the tuners, sometimes the bridge, the electronics. Those are the things that most people that end up buying chips ins end up fixing on their guitars. I'm assuming that's what you're going to be doing too, Warhart. All right, so we have our poll question out today. The poll question was basically, who do you prefer, Jimmy Page or Jeff Beck? And I was discussing this with a friend of mine this week. And the way I like to put it, I mean, they're both amazing guitarists. Some people might not like either one of them. We'll look at the poll question later, but I have my categories for both of those guys. I can tell you where I think they fit. So I'm curious to see your thoughts on that. So Warhart says he's going to be upgrading. He says, spend my pickup funds on a chorus unit, he says. Okay, so let us know what you're updating on that guitar. Vinny says, Jackson's without Floyd. I almost think a roller Knight might help. I think you meant a roller nut, maybe. Cushman says he prefers Jimmy. And Mississippi Blue says, hey, Tony and all. Tony, I just pulled the trigger on a quad Cortex. Do you think it's still good to buy in 2025? Yeah, man. Those are great units. Why wouldn't it be good to buy in 2025? Yeah, sure. I think you're going to like it. A lot of people love those units. There's so much you can do with it. Is this your first multi-effects unit like that? Is this the first time you're dipping your toe into the multi-effects world, Mississippi, or are you already a fan? Maybe you already have a few. So Warhart says, yeah, needed everything. Dealing with difficulty of metric parts. This is a thing a lot of people don't realize when they're buying these chips ins, that they're not necessarily the same. You know, the thread patterns on the screws are different. Metric versus imperial. Sizes are close, but not really 100%. The tuners also, excuse me. The tuners also. A lot of people think that they're getting, you know, Goto tuners or something like that because they look like them, but often they're just knockoffs, so they're not going to be as good. They're not going to be as precise. So those are things that you typically want to change. The pickups, the electronics, sometimes the hardware, pretty much everything except the body. So you have to go into it with that in mind. Hey, Peg City Pickups is here. He says he prefers Beck. All right, cool. How's everything going in the pickup world, Peg City? If any of you are not familiar with Peg City Pickups, great pickups made in Canada. So if you're looking for a good deal and you're Canadian and you don't want to have to deal with tariffs, check them out. They have everything you could desire in terms of pickups and make great quality stuff. Just curious, Peg City, any new models on the way? Anything interesting and innovative on the way, or is it still the same series of pickups, the tried and true pickups? Just wondering. Let us know. It's always good for us to know what's coming up. So Jack says he prefers Jeff Beck. Warheart says I replaced the bridge pickups. Needs a neck pickup, but it needs proper ring or direct mount one. Presley says JB for me. So there's a lot of Jeff Beck fans here. Very cool. I'll give you my opinion on that when we look at the poll question in a little bit. So Mississippi Blue says he owns the Headrush Prime as well, but was going to build a QC pedal board. Okay, I think the Quad Cortex is gonna probably allow you to do certain things that the Headrush can't. So I think you're gonna love it. There's definitely a learning curve whenever you switch over to something new, but generally they all kind of work the same way. So if you understand the basics and you've used them before, you're gonna hit the ground running. There shouldn't be too much downtime before you start rocking that thing. So Peg City says, very, very busy these days. Tony, I'm proud to be working with Jag Tana from Mother Earth. I'm just about to release a whole new lineup of worship spec pickups, as well as a couple of signature models. So Peg City, maybe you could enlighten me, because I'm not like in the world of worship music. What is, like, a lot of people mention worship as like a specific, spin-off. And I'm not sure what you mean by worship spec pickups. Like, what does that mean exactly? I would think like any pickup could be used for worship type music. Not really sure. So if you can enlighten me, I can learn something today. Jean-Pierre says the only correct answer is Jeff Beck. Well, I'm not sure about that. We'll discuss. Shane says, I worship Paige. All right. So beyond the poll question, I'm just wondering, I'm going to throw a philosophical question your way as well today. When it comes to songs, hit songs, do we like a song because it's a hit or popular, or is it a hit and popular because it's a good song? I think a lot of times we end up getting drawn in to the hype, where suddenly a song becomes very popular for whatever reason, and due to its popularity, we end up thinking we like it, even though maybe it's more a question of being part of the crowd type of thing, as opposed to actually liking the song. You know what I mean? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here. Psychologically speaking, we kind of end up getting drawn in because a lot of people say it's great, it's good, so it must be great, even though maybe we don't feel 100% the same way. So it's a little bit of a mind bender. Curious what you think about that. There's a question here. Who Cool Tune says, Tony, thought upgrading pickups in my Harley Benton 335 Plus. I really liking, but the way it is, but maybe could upgrade. I'm not sure what you're asking me here. Are you thinking of upgrading the Harley Benton 335? Is that what you're saying? You want to upgrade the pickups? Well, we have Peg City in the house, so I'm sure if you're looking for an upgrade for your 335, he can make some pretty good suggestions here. Vinny says, I think it's both. Popularity can be cultural significance, and sometimes that defines a generation in time. Yeah, and often what ends up happening, I think, is that, looking back, like maybe you didn't necessarily appreciate an artist or a band in the moment. Maybe you didn't understand, the impact that they were having or whatever. But looking back over the years, you can see how some bands had a big, big impact, and changed the course of music even, where at the time maybe you didn't think they were that great, and then maybe only later on with, maybe your maturing taste in music, you come to appreciate it, This is how, in a sense, I feel about Beck in a way, but we'll talk about that. So Peg City says worship spec pickups are often unique. Low output, low inductance pickups, they create a lot more clean headroom to work really well with all the ambient delay and modulations, and they use a lot. I see. Okay, so it's tweaked to be clean. I see. Okay. But surely there's other pickups that can do the same, even though they're not necessarily spec'd as being worship friendly or worship designed, I would say. But low output pickups are generally what I'm hearing here. Lower output pickups. Okay, makes sense. Now, aren't there any worship bands that are a little bit on the heavier side? Wasn't there, in the 80s, there was a band that was like a metal band? I forget the name. They were kind of a worship metal band. And I don't remember the name of them. Maybe you guys know who I'm talking about. I don't think there's that many. So Mississippi Blue says Jimmy Page or Jeff Beck, a difficult choice. Personally, I love them both. Warheart says Alnico 2s. Alnico 2s are a good choice, I guess, if you want to go with more of that classic PAF sound. Oftentimes Alnico 2 are used. I like the 57 classics a lot. So if I'm aiming for, an upgrade on pickups, I usually tend to go for that kind of sound. Not necessarily, I don't necessarily mean I buy the Gibson 57 classics all the time. I'll even get other brands that are similar, But I like that tone. Dan Steely says Jimmy Page couldn't carry Jeff Beck's case. Sorry, not sorry. And Jack says, I know you all might think I'm strange, but I never liked Led Zeppelin. Hey, everybody's got their own taste, Jack. That's what makes that's what makes fun, variety. Not everybody has to like the same stuff. So Peg City says, so example, humbuckers that are lower than 6K, P90s, around 3.5 and less than 1 Henry inductance. Very, very cool stuff. So this is beyond my scope. I usually, if I go low output pickups, I usually don't go lower than 6, but you're talking about P90s now. So that's a different beast. I'm talking about humbuckers. I have a set of nice low output humbuckers that I got a while ago, and I gotta say they definitely play different, and not in a bad way, but they do feel different in terms of that being low output like that. You can do different things with them, and you don't like the sound doesn't get crushed. When it's when pickups are high output, they kind of get like oversaturated, sound, and with the low output pickups, you kind of you don't lose all of that clarity and stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. That's just how I see it. I'm not a pro here in terms of building pickups, so um, I respect and defer knowledge to other people that know more than me. Okay, so I'm just catching up on the comments. So guys, we're at 37,500 subscribers. Going really, really well. I appreciate you guys tuning in diligently, and hopefully you guys are spreading the word. As you know, we do have a contest going on. I think hopefully you guys saw the little trailer that was playing before we went live today. And the contest is still on. I was gonna end the contest September, but to be honest with you, we haven't had that many people actually participate. I think to date, unless I missed anybody, I think we only have one person here, and that's Shane. So, I'd like to get a couple more people. I'd like to have at least maybe 3 people join us on the live shows. So you still have time. I'm going to extend that contest a little longer to see if we can get a few more people interested and have a lively discussion together. I think it would be fun. So, it's not too late. You know what to do. I think I was clear on the details. If you guys are not clear on the details, let me know and I'll go through them again. But always looking forward to seeing some of you guys and being able to talk face to face. That could be a lot of fun. Also, guys, please give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. We have 26 thumbs up today, and there's a few more people than that. So I would appreciate it if you can support the channel. So Vinny says, I uploaded something today, but not necessarily for the contest, I guess. Just wanted to support. Well, that's always appreciated, Vinny. I'll try and find it. If you can send me the link to it, or make it easier for me to find, maybe put the link in the comment for the video I made for the contest. I can find it easier that way. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support. It's funny. I was watching a video on Instagram that popped up just the other day. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's a rock and roll moment, guys. It's a clip of Cheap Trick playing. They were playing, I think, in New York, and out comes Rick Nielsen, with his 5-neck guitar. The famous 5-neck guitar that he usually comes out with. And the poor guy couldn't even put the strap on his shoulder. He was trying to lift it, and this is going on in the middle of the song. So the song's going on, and he's trying to lift the strap and get it over his shoulder, and he wasn't able to do it. Poor guy. So the band kept playing, and he was struggling with his guitar, didn't really know what to do there, just trying to play along with the guitar on the floor, basically. So I think when it gets to the point where you can't lift your guitar over your shoulder anymore, it's time to maybe stop using that guitar, or maybe call it a day. You know what I mean? Time to retire. I don't know. Bring on the lighter stuff. But it was a rock and roll moment for sure. I don't know how many of you guys actually may have seen that video crossed your feed. But this is rock and roll, man. Whether or not things are going well or not, the show must go on. But that was pretty, a little bit sad, I gotta say. So I'm not sure how I would react if that was me on stage. Um, but that must be a heavy guitar because it's basically like 5 guitars in one. I'm sure you've seen the guitar I'm talking about. All right, Vinny, I will do that. I'll type in addicted to gear and I'll find it. Thank you. So David says, I can still audition? Question mark. I was thinking of representing the minimalist approach. Not sure it fits with the spirit of the channel. Hey man, do whatever you think is creative. I'm not judging on how you do it. I'd be curious to see how you go about it, for sure. Um, Shane says people keep saying how underrated Prince is that I feel that he's becoming overrated. Um, I mean, um, he can definitely play better than me. That's for sure. The thing about Prince, I think that people um, respect is that he played a lot of different instruments. It wasn't just guitar. You know, he was equally good on a lot of different things. I think he even played drums. And on some of the tracks, like he was playing everything. So, you know, I can't knock him for that, man. He was a talented dude, I gotta say. He definitely sold more records than me. So who am I to judge, right? All right. The other thing I noticed this week, and this is something that also blew my mind a little bit, but we've talked about this before. It's nothing new, but it's something scary because I'm worried about this. I don't know about you guys. Rick Beato are one of my favorite YouTubers out there, and I'm not the only one. He's got like I don't know 5 or 7 million followers or something like that. He's basically the dude on YouTube when it comes to music theory and all kinds of stuff like that. Very, very knowledgeable guy. And he actually posted a video, and you could probably find it pretty easily, where he generated an AI artist. He basically created a picture of a woman, created a name, created some lyrics, put it into AI, and generated a beautiful song with a beautiful melody. And I listened to it, and I'm like, holy crap! You know, this sounds great, and I would not be able to tell that it wasn't a real person. Like even just I'm gonna say a year ago, not even a year ago, it wasn't there yet. But right now, holy mackerel, man! At least what he showed blew me away. So I'm pretty sure this is the route music is going to go. We're going to get people generating music like that. And um, the question is, like, why are we even practicing when we don't have to? When we can generate, the entire song, not just the lyrics, the melody, the bass line, the drums, everything. And he did it in a matter of minutes. And it was polished, like it was ready to be on Spotify. So, I mean, if this is happening, guys, um, I think it's going to be commonplace by as soon as this time next year. I think we're going to be listening to AI music and AI bands. I think it's going to happen, and I'm a little afraid. Actually, I'm a lot afraid. I don't know what this is going to mean for the industry. So basically, probably record companies are not going to be looking for artists anymore. Why would they? They can generate their own. They can get a bunch of young guys, young girls that are, computer whizzes, spend all day generating AI generated music, put it out there, and reap the royalties and not have to pay a cent to the artist because there is no artist. And then, of course, you're going to have the opportunity to say, well, I want to generate an artist in this style. I like whatever. I like Pink Floyd. So I want to generate an artist in the style of Pink Floyd, and think about it, man. The good news is we're not going to run out of music. Will it all sound the same? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Just like AI keeps evolving, I'm sure, the technology, the algorithms will keep evolving too. And, the prompts that people are putting in will be different. So the outcome will be different. I don't know, man. All I know is we're at a point in our lifetime where we're going to start thinking about the timeline, and we're going to start referring to it as the years before AI and the years after AI. Honestly, I think that's what's going to happen, because it's going to have such a huge impact in all aspects of our lives, including music. And it's going to trickle into, software. It's going to trickle into multi-effects units. Like we saw what, Boss put out recently this week. And basically it's a pedal. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but basically it's a pedal that it basically emulates 16 different Boss effects in one Boss size pedal. Now, I don't know how well it's being received. It's called the PX1. It stands for plug out effects. So it has, from what I understand, and this just came out, so I don't have all the details. It has 8 preset slots for loading models, and I believe what they said was you'll be able to buy additional models. So there's 16 in total, I think, and you can load out 8 of your own. So you can choose which models you want, and I think the models will be like $10 or something to download. So I looked at this and I'm like, I don't know if I'm a fan. I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea of it. I'm assuming they will sound the same, but one is digital, where a lot of the others will be analog. So I don't think they'll be identical. It's going to be the kind of thing like what Fender did with the Tone Masters, where they emulated their classic amplifiers, but they were transistor. They didn't sound the same, even though they were meant to be the same. They weren't. So, for practicality purposes, I think this is cool, because then you carry one pedal and you can have different things in one pedal, one footprint. Of course, you can't do everything with one. So, obviously, if you're into stacking pedals, you can't stack the pedals because there's only one. But say you want an overdrive and, I don't know, a chorus at the same time, for example. You can't use both effects at the same time. So I'm a little bit torn. I don't know if they've mentioned the price yet on this unit. I don't think I have the price. Oh, yes, they did, actually. They did. It's $249, so $250 plus tax, and it is already available. So I don't know how many people saw this. How many people out here would think you'd be a fan and maybe buy one of these things? Just out of curiosity. Hey, Zach. Nice to see you, buddy. What's going on? Searching for Tone says, got my Boss yesterday, hoping to have my studio back up and running later so I can film a demo tonight. Hey, Searching for Tone, instead of filming a demo, man, why don't you film a video so you can be part of our contest? Come on, dude. Rexomatic says, I think you're right about AI, especially when you see how much music can be consumed pretty much everywhere. Why would YouTubers buy music when they can just AI what they need? Not only that, but we're living in a very forgetful time. people have very short attention spans. They don't listen to entire albums. They don't even listen to entire songs. I mean, more and more today's generation, listens to a fraction of a song before they get bored and switch to something else. I've rarely seen somebody listening to an entire song, unless it's on, like, it's just playing in the background and they're too far to reach their phone or something. But if they have their phone in their hand and they're listening to something, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be switching that song to something else before it's even finished. So because it's sort of, we're living in a throwaway society, music is just consumed and forgotten. And then you move to something else. So you lose that artistry, unfortunately. It becomes like fast food. Like, I ate the burger, okay, give me those fries. It's not like a gourmet meal that you sit down, take the time, enjoy, analyze, think about it. Those days are disappearing. Zarly says, Beato did mention in an older video, AI videos are slightly off compared to the human-made songs. That could be, Zarly. I mean, today, now. But AI is moving so fast that within a year, it won't be that anymore. It's crazy. Look, AI has already reached the point where the technology is smarter than most PhDs. In other words, if you give and this is across all fields, by the way. So if you have somebody who has a PhD in mathematics or physics or science or whatever, and you test them, AI will score better across the board. So why wouldn't it be the same for music? Anyway, I don't want to get carried away with the AI conversation, but it is something that I'm aware of, and it's not leaving me with a good feeling right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I predict that if things keep going the way they are going, within the next less than 5 years, we're probably going to be giving away Grammy Awards to some AI-generated band or something like that. You know what I mean? It's going to switch to that, I think. Zach says, I don't want to listen to AI-generated music. You know what, Zach? I say the same thing, right? But if the music is good, like, think about it. I would say I wouldn't want to listen to crappy AI-generated music. But what if the music's good? What if it's actually good? What if it's better than most of the stuff out there today? Then what happens? If it's good, it's good, regardless of how it was made. You know what I mean? But I understand your reluctance. I totally get it. Shane says, I think you should just get a Boss GT1000 and then arrange the pedals as you like in patches. Searching for Tone says, huge rip, $249 for 16 pedals. Is it though? I mean, if you had to buy all those 16 pedals individually, wouldn't you be paying more? I don't think it's a rip-off. I think you're actually going to be getting more for your money. The question is, are you going to get better tone? Koshman says, Gene says, we tolerate cats singing Christmas carols. I can think of a few things where, maybe 10 years ago we said, well, nah, that's never going to catch on. Think about texting. That's a very, very clear example, right? When the ability to text came out, people are like, why would I want to text somebody when I can just call them? Why would I want to type out my message when I can just talk to them? I remember thinking that, right? And today, total 360. You rarely get a phone call. Everybody's texting, right? Think about it. Try calling, you got a teenager in your household, try calling them, see what happens. You're going to land on their answering machine. They're not going to answer the phone. You know what I mean? So this is the type of thing we're dealing with now. We're looking at it saying, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to listen to AI generated music. I agree with you. I'm old school, but I have a feeling that we're going to get to a tipping point where it's just going to be better, you know? Vinny says it's not a rip-off, but you'd have to look at it in a vacuum without comparison to other similar devices. Davis says, at first I really resisted AI. Now I think it can be useful, helper tool, but I cannot and will not view it as creator. That's just me. Well, the thing is, Davis, and again, we won't be talking about this for too long because I want to talk about music here. Somebody's got to create it. So AI is the tool, right? But somebody's got to create the prompts. Somebody's got to tweak it so it it creates what you want, a better version of what you want. So if we can both use AI in a similar way. We're not going to get the same results depending on how we use it. There are people that are better at using the tool or using multiple tools, right? And when we say AI, we think, well, okay, maybe it's Chat GPT, maybe it's Grok, maybe it's some other AI out there. But what about if you use more than one? What if you you use one for a certain aspect of creating a song and you use something else for another aspect of creating the same song and you merge them together? Then what happens? Lots of possibilities here, guys. Jean-Pierre says people like to have heroes and identify with them like John Lennon, Jim Morrison, etc. Not so with AI. I can't hardly see live AI shows. But yes, it's true, but I think shows will probably, maybe become secondary. Think of it this way. What if, I'm just throwing this out there, what if somebody generates some kind of music that is similar to what you would experience with Pink Floyd, for example, right? That type of very, very emotional type music that's very immersive. What if you take that and now you play that at the Sphere in Las Vegas, which is a dome that basically can project visuals 360. Not only visuals 360, but it can do crazy things like, blow wind, bubbles, snowflakes, all kinds of stuff. I saw that when they were showing what they were doing with the Wizard of Oz movie that they're playing within this thing. The sound is incredible. The visuals are incredible. Merge that with the sound, with AI generated Pink Floyd music or Pink Floyd-ish music. I think it would still be a pretty interesting experience, no? And I think what's going to happen is that it's not going to be AI that's going to be getting the credit. It's going to be the person behind the curtain, the guy who's generating it. Kind of like DJs today, like there's a lot of DJs out there that are generating music they're basically just beats, or remixing of other music that's already been created, right? And they're doing their own thing. Well, these DJs become very popular and they have their own following, even though they don't actually play an instrument. They just create beats. Same kind of idea. I see that happening. Maybe even holograms. Who knows? We don't know. Anyway, I think that's enough about AI. Let's talk about something else. Yeah, the Rexomatic. I think what's going to happen is as soon as somebody can make money with an AI generated song, what's going to happen is the companies that create the AI tool, they're going to have some squinty print somewhere in their contract and notes indicating that whatever is created using the AI belongs to them. That's what's going to happen. I'm sure. Just a matter of time. Okay, enough about that. So Fix or Repair Daily says, finally caught up with the live show even though I'm 30 plus minutes late. That's okay, dude. There's no such thing as late. You're here. You're here now, and that's what matters. All good, and I appreciate you being here. Okay, so let's get off the topic of AI. I knew that was going to be a can of worms. Let's talk about something else. This week, I did put out a video on a new pedal board. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. The pedal board's right there. You can see there's two now. So that one is the one I was using previous. This is the new one that I was evaluating. And I don't know if you guys saw that video, but I put on a bunch of pedals on there because I just wanted to try the pedals and see how it works within the context of the new pedal board. I can show you that close up if you guys haven't seen it. Just give me a second here. I gotta bend. Oof. All right, let me try not to damage anything here. So this pedal board is made by Van Gogh. Ooh, almost dropped my guitar. Good. Trying to do too many things at once here. Van Gogh pedal board. Did a full review on this. I like the pedal board. It's solid, man. Can't complain. And you can fit quite a few pedals on this thing. So as you can see here, I just threw on some pedals that I haven't actually even, some of these I haven't even reviewed yet. HD Stomp. I have a couple of Joyo pedals there, the Uzi and the Zip Amp. I have this, which is a nice 10-band EQ. This is from K-Line. And then at the top, I have a series of Nu X pedals, the mini line. Here I have a delay, I have a reverb, I have a chorus, and I have a voodoo vibe. They work pretty good together. And I was just playing around with that. What I like about this pedal board is it has an integrated power supply, so you don't have to go and find another power supply. So for those of you who don't know what to get and you just want to get something, all in one, yeah, you can use that. It works really well. Anybody out there looking at updating their pedal board or changing it perhaps, or getting something new? Maybe you made your own pedal board. I think that changing your pedal board every so often is cool. It's almost like it keeps things fresh, keeps things interesting. If you get a little bored, throw another pedal on there, play around with it. It's always a great way to stimulate some creative juices. The other big news this week, I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but apparently Sting is being sued. He's being sued again. It's not the first time he gets sued, but I think it's the first time he gets sued by his bandmates. He's getting sued by Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland apparently because there was one of their mega hits, which is Every Breath You Take, which came out in 1983. Apparently, it seems like Sting is the sole composer and author of that song. And they made tons of money with that song. That was like the hit of the year, right? Everywhere you would go, you would be hearing Every Breath You Take being played on the radio. And one of their biggest hits of all time. Apparently, Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers lost a lot of money because they didn't get any royalties. So now they're suing for legal damages. And I believe Sting, even today, still earns about $700,000 a year in royalties from that one song. How many years has that been now? Let's do the math. So if he's making let's do the math. I'm curious here. And that's just crazy, man, when you think about it. I don't think any artists are still making that kind of dough today. So it came out in 83, I said. Yeah, 83. So let's do the math. So that is 42 years. Could that be? Is that right? 42 years ago? Holy crap. That's a long time. I didn't think it was that long ago. All right, so let's do 42, if my math is correct. And they say he makes about $738,628 per year. So that song alone, how could this be? 31 million from one song. 31 million, over 31 million, let's just say. Right? This is the math. 31 million, over 31 million for one song. Yeah, so he definitely needs to owe his, buy his bandmates a really nice present or something, if he's been mooching all of the royalties since then. That's an oopsie if they didn't put their name on that song. No wonder they don't like him. I wouldn't like him either. Searching for Tone says, I got the Boss plug out for that to have the spot for the occasional pedal you want, but don't want to hold a spot on the board. Now I just need to rebuild my board. That's kind of what I mentioned. Most people will probably be using it for, Searching for Tone, just to have that additional, occasional pedal there without necessarily having to reorganize your board. The question is, depending on which type of pedal you're emulating with the Boss plug out, it might not be in the right place, right? Depending on whether or not it's a drive sound, a delay sound, a modulation, you might want it to be in different places on your board. Yeah, Dan, it was definitely on MTV every 24 minutes or less. I remember. Okay, so divide by 3. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do for sure. If I divide the number by 3, how much do we get? Let's see. It's about 10 million. 10 million each. You can buy a few nice instruments with that. Gene says, my guess, Tony, is Page all the way. I guess you're talking about the poll question. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a few moments here. All right. So anyways, I thought that was interesting that, of course, I like the Police. They were one of the bands that I really dug back in the day. I think most people like the Police. But yeah, I can see why there's bad blood amongst them now. I don't know why it took them so long to figure this thing out. Maybe it's been, something that they've been arguing about ever since. Who knows? Maybe they finally decided it's time to take this to the lawyers. I don't know. So going back to our poll question of who do you like more, Jeff Beck or Jimmy Page? Some of you might not like either one of them. But one of the things that often comes up between these two very well-known guitarists is who actually created the riff or song, which is well-known, called Beck's Bolero. We often think it's Jeff Beck, but there's been back and forth between Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page over the years as to who actually created that song. And that one came out, I think, in 1966 originally. And that original 1966 version, which was instrumental, featured Beck, Page on that song, Keith Moon was on that song, Nicky Hopkins, and there was also John Paul Jones that played on that song. So a lot of people say it was Jeff Beck. A lot of people say it was Jimmy Page. It could have been a little of both, to be honest. I don't know if we're ever going to get the answer to that. But Page, on that song, Page generally just played the chords. And it was a 12-string guitar that he used for that. So Beck generally played the metal riff, you know, at the beginning. That well-known metal riff based on the classical bolero piece of music, which was pretty cool, gotta say. That's Ravel's piece, right? Which was original. I think the Ravel's piece was originally created in 1982. So I wonder what Ravel considers or thinks about that piece. If he's rolling over in his grave, or if he maybe likes it. Who knows? Let's see here. Any other comments? You guys are listening to me, but you're not commenting. You're not giving me anything to go by here. You're listening to me, I guess, intuitively, very carefully. There was an interesting interview also with Rick Beato, and he was interesting. Interviewing Joe Perry, and it seemed like for a moment there, Joe Perry was going to be putting together something on his own, some kind of just a little group to be able to put on some shows and whatnot. And I think Brad Whitford was also going to be part of that. I think Chris Robinson was also going to be a part of that, he's a singer of the Black Crowes, if you don't already know. And also the bassist from Stone Temple Pilots, Robert DeLeo, was also going to be part of it. But apparently it was scheduled for August 22nd, then got postponed, as there was another show in the same theater on the 23rd. But then apparently Perry said that a bug had been making its way around the band and they were not in shape to perform. So they pulled the plug. So it seemed like it was going to be pretty cool. I did see a little video clip pop up where you do see Chris Robinson singing and playing together. It sounded a little bit like they were not prepared or hadn't rehearsed. It was kind of like a spur of the moment thing, at least in the video. But I thought it would be cool. Would be interesting to see them all together. So unfortunately, it was called off. Not a new thing. I think lately there's been a lot of shows being called off, especially with the old Aerosmith group. So I don't know if this is par for the course or what. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that's some news that was making rounds this week, and I thought I'd share that with you guys as well, just to keep you updated. There's a new amp on the way from Bad Cat. I don't know if you guys know about this yet. It was just released, just mentioned recently, not that long ago. Actually, maybe just a couple days ago, actually. So if any of you are fans of the Bad Cat line of amplifiers, which they don't sound bad at all. There's a new one coming out. It's called the Ocelot. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know why they picked that name. But it's basically a lunchbox style amplifier, so it's a smaller footprint. And I think this one is geared more towards modern players. Very small, not too big, 12-pound package, more or less. And 2 channels, I believe. And they have but from what I heard, and I haven't actually heard the amp in action yet. I'm going to try and find some videos on that. I'm sure they're going to start popping up. Apparently it has a really nice, pristine, clean channel, as well as a nice overdriven channel as well. The look of it, it's one of those metal enclosures, you know, the lunchbox style amps. It does have like a little LED light lighting up the grill in the front. I mean, it's not the ugliest that I've seen, but it reminds me of those old radios. You know, at least it doesn't look like a toaster. Some of these amps that come out in this form factor really look like toasters. For me, you know, look is very important. It's got to look cool. I wish they would just do a little bit more with the styling, just tweak it a little bit more. So basically, channel 1 says it features sparkling high headroom cleans with the ability to nudge into rich edge of breakup tones via the high-low mode switch. And channel 2 brings tight, punchy crunch and full-bodied high-gain saturation with articulate response and massive sustain. So sounds like it could be very, very flexible for many people that are playing modern type music. I'm curious to see all of the functions and features. I think it's a 20 watt amp. So 20 watt is pretty much in the sweet spot, but I think it also has a switch which will allow you to drop to 1 watt, which is also quite useful for home recording. And the price, apparently the street price on this is $1,299. So it's not extremely expensive. The Bad Cat amps tend to be a little bit on the more expensive side, but because this is the more compact version, it's not as expensive, I would say. So a good opportunity to perhaps grab a nice sounding amplifier in the near future. Not sure if it's going to be my cup of tea, but I'm going to be interested in seeing what it can do. My niece hurt says, Google says Joe Perry project was 8 shows and the rest canceled. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what happened. Rico, what's going on, man? So Rico says, yesterday I was on a boat in the middle of the lake and a Swiss guy sits down next to me with a Steel Panther t-shirt. We talked for a few minutes. Small world. Steel Panther, huh? Nobody gave me the name of that that band I was trying to figure out what their name was. Back in the 80s, they were a worship band, but they were a metal worship band. You guys know what I'm talking about? Did anybody come up with the name on that? I'm going to Google it. Striper. That's the band. Striper. You guys remember that band? I don't think I ever listened to any of their music. Interesting combination there. Striper. Cushman guessed it. Gene guessed it too. Zarly says, nice Jackson. What year and model is it? This is just a run-of-the-mill, inexpensive Jackson. This is the made in China version. It's not the more expensive ones. Not sure what year it is because I bought it used. But it's the basic model that you can get for, I think these were selling for like $200. And I got them for even less than that. Decent guitar for the money, man. I'm glad I picked it up when I did, because nowadays I don't know how much these are going for. Let me see if you can even buy these anymore. I don't think you can, or maybe you can. What do I search for? Just searching in Jackson budget guitar. This is the JS series. So this, if I'm not mistaken, you can still buy these on Amazon today. And it looks like mine. Yeah, it's mine. So on Amazon, you can buy this. It's the Jackson JS Series Dinky JS11. And they call this Amaranth Metallic Red. That's what they, the photo on the photo on Amazon doesn't do it justice because you can't really see the sparkle. It doesn't look as nice, but it's a metallic red. The wood is poplar on this guitar. And I removed the Jackson pickups that came. I still have them. I might put them back in. But I took them out. I just wanted to put something a little different inside there. And yeah, this guitar is $239, brand new. It's no reason why you wouldn't want to grab one of these. Well, there is a reason why you would want to grab one of these, and I'll explain to you in the video that I'm gonna post tomorrow. You'll understand. But it generally gets good reviews. I'm just reading one of the reviews that popped up at the very beginning, and it says one of the best purchases I've made. This guy says. So with a little love, a little TLC, you can make this guitar really good. How does it feel? It feels good, man. The neck is a more slender neck. It's a fast neck. So I'm going to say a little bit more, it feels a little bit more like an Ibanez neck, if that makes sense. Now these pickups are not high output pickups, so you know the squeals and stuff maybe don't jump out as much. But I don't know if I'm going to be keeping these pickups in this guitar. I put them in there to try them out. I'm thinking maybe I'll go with something a little bit hotter. Not sure. I did swap out the pickups early. Yeah, these are not the standard pickups. The standard pickups say Jackson on them. They had the zebra stripe pickups. I think I still have them somewhere here. D. Smith says, tried the Bad Cat 20, prefer my Laney Studio. Amazing how great a 3-watt amp can sound through a 2x12. Yeah, it's true. You can really get some great tones out of those things. It's definitely in the sweet spot. Shane says, I got my Ibanez out with the new pickups this week. How many hours did you play that thing, Shane? Are you beating it into submission? Are you enjoying it? Before I forget, guys, I'm giving you the news first because it's coming up. We're going to be having a special guest on the Addicted to Gear show. I mentioned this previously, but now we honed in on a date. And we're going to be doing it, I believe I had said, let me just double check so I don't lie to you guys. I believe it was going to be the 21st of September. 21st of September. We're going to have a special guest on the show. His name is Thomas Serafini, and he's one of the creators of the Overloud, THU Overloud software packages. And I've been using that software package in my studio for quite a while. I think it's probably one of the best, at least one of the ones I feel sounds the best. And he's going to join us on the show in September. And he's going to be answering some questions. He's one of the creators of the software, so who better to answer our questions than him? So he'll be able to answer a lot of your questions if you already are using the software, perhaps are considering using the software. There are free trials available, so you can actually download the software and play around with it for a while just to evaluate it. It sounds amazing. There's a lot of stuff you can do. If your computer is relatively up to date, not like something old, but something relatively recent, you shouldn't have any problems even running it off a laptop. And you can get some great sounds out of it. You can really there's a lot of flexibility built in, whether you're using it just to play at home or to record with. Pretty crazy stuff. It's amazing what you can do with software today. So you don't have to go out there and buy, very expensive hardware, amplifiers and pedals. You can do it all software if you're just playing from home. Makes a good practice rig as well. I love playing it through my system here because I do have, you can't see them, but I have two Mackie monitors right beside my computer here. So all of the sounds I can play as if I'm playing through an amplifier and just have the live sound come through, and I have everything in stereo. Sounds killer. So I highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't already played with it, at least a demo, and see what it can do. He'll be on the show and he's going to answer questions, and he'll be able to tell us how to tweak things to make them sound the best. And I'm looking forward to having him. He's a really cool guy. And I think if you're into that type of thing, mark it on your calendar because it's going to be a good show for sure. All right, should we look at the poll question, guys? I'm losing my voice again. I think I've been talking too much. Maybe I need a sip of water here. Should we look at the poll question? Let's do it. Since, excuse me, we already got a couple of answers, I'm going to give you my opinion on that. But let me look at the poll question results first, because I'm curious. Curious minds want to know. Also, guys, if you have any suggestions for some upcoming videos on the channel, let me know. If I could oblige, I definitely will. Sometimes I run out of ideas. Excuse me, because I think I've done it all. There's I think we're over 800 videos on my channel right now. Did you guys know that? Probably not. So there's a lot of stuff in the archives that you guys can take advantage of and watch if you're interested. I'm amazed sometimes when I look back. I'm like, holy mackerel, I made all those videos? Okay, so we have 175 votes on the poll question. The question was, who was better in the day, Jimmy Page or Jeff Beck? May he rest in peace. I miss Jeff. He should have definitely been around longer. Sad what happened. But anyway, so the results are in. I'll go in order of preference. So 42% of you said Jimmy Page. That's the number one answer. 37% of you said Jeff Beck. 18% said I love both equally. And 3% said I think both suck. At least you're being honest. So there were a couple of comments here, and I like to read the comments because it puts things into perspective. So Gene here, our own very own Gene Callie, said that I was listening to Beck's Truth album featuring Rod Stewart in 1968, also Zepp, Page, and Carlos Santana. But my favorite band was The Animals with Eric Burdon. I did see the Yardbirds in 1966. Well, you're lucky, man. I've never had the opportunity to see the Yardbirds. I'm a little too young for that. I wasn't even born in 1966, so that would have been something. Wesley says, Jimmy Page is the reason I picked up guitar 30 years ago. He was more well-known and had the look and the raw playing and mystique. But Beck progressed through the years and was the better player from a technical standpoint. But I can't name one of Beck's tracks. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Jeff and Jimmy Page were pals, though, and Jimmy would tell you that Jeff is the better player by far. Rest in peace, Jeff Beck. So I'm going to comment on that a little bit because I agree. I think Jimmy Page mentioned it many times that he owes a lot to Jeff Beck. The Dragon Telecaster that Jeff well, it wasn't the Dragon Telecaster when Jeff gave it to him, but the Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster was originally a Telecaster given to Jimmy Page by Jeff Beck. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it is. And, you know, Jeff Beck was the reason why Jimmy Page ended up in the Yardbirds. And Jimmy has said over and over that he feels that Jeff Beck is the better player of the two. I'm a big Jimmy Page fan. I do respect what Jeff Beck did, and watching Jeff Beck even in the later years was mind-blowing in terms of how he mastered the sounds on his guitar and how he can coax basically any sound out of the guitar. Can make it sing, can make it cry. Amazing. Technically, I think better than Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page was more of a forceful player and a little sloppy at times. You know, he wasn't necessarily clean all the time, although he did master the recording technique. And Jimmy Page was, I think, a very good producer. He knew sound and he knew how to get the sound to have the maximum impact in the studio. He was very good in the studio. So my feeling is this. Basically, I think Jimmy Page was the master of the riff. I think Jimmy Page came out with so many memorable riffs with Led Zeppelin. Like, you know, you just play any Led Zeppelin song in the first 3 seconds. It's a riff, you know, and those riffs stick in your mind. Whereas Jeff Beck, he did have a little bit of that, but not as much. I think the Truth album was probably one of my favorites. He did have a tendency to experiment more. Blow by Blow was another one that was a little bit more on the experimental side and stuff. But the early stuff was really good, and I really liked it. But he didn't have that ability to create the hook as much. And this is why, you know, this gentleman says like he couldn't name any Jeff Beck song because of the hooks, you know. Jimmy would hook you. He would hook you with the riff and keep you listening. And that's what I think. That's why I think I prefer Jimmy Page for that. But in terms of technical aspects of playing the guitar, I do think Jeff Beck was probably better. I like both, but if I had to listen to one, I think Jimmy keeps me going longer in terms of wanting to listen to more and more stuff. But I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan, so I'm a little biased. So many of you said I picked up the guitar because of Jimmy Page, but Jeff was the reason I continued. So this is the thing, right? So Jimmy Page caught you initially with those riffs, and then as you got better as a musician, I think you appreciated Jeff Beck more and more. And I think that's what happened to a lot of us. We ended up growing into Jeff Beck. Somebody else here says no comparison, Beck all the way. And other people said, hey, I don't think they suck per se, but just not my era. Had to force myself to listen to them to understand what all the hoopla was about. So generally, of course, yeah, if you're a little younger, perhaps, you might have missed the entire boat when it comes to Jimmy Page or Jeff Beck, you know. But like a friend of mine mentioned, I think it was Jean-Pierre here, he mentioned that, you know, when Hendrix came to town, he asked if he could meet Jeff Beck, not Jimmy Page, you know, and Hendrix was a master in his own right. So that says a lot, right? If Hendrix wants to meet you, that's a definite tip of the hat. So Jean-Pierre is asking, will your guest be live with you or through video? It's going to be through video. He can't be live with me because he's actually from Italy. He actually lives and operates in Italy. So there's the whole ocean aspect. That's going to be a problem for him to be live with me here. It's going to be through video. So we'll both be on at the same time. Searching for Tone says, yeah, man, you have 801 videos. That's impressive. Yeah, it blows my mind in terms of how much time I put into those videos. Hopefully you guys appreciate them. There'll be 802 tomorrow and 803 probably a couple of days after that. I'm working on a few more here for you guys. How is my Dragon Telecaster project coming along? Zarly, it's on the back burner right now. I'm keeping that project for winter. We're getting there. It's getting fall, winter time, the dark days of winter, when I fall into a depression because I can't go out and the days are short and cold. I'm going to probably be working on that project. Hopefully I can finish it for spring. Maybe in the spring you'll see a brand new Dragon Telecaster on my rack there behind me. Yeah, looking forward to putting that one together. It's been a long time coming. Warhead Art says, question was, who plays better? Not comparing Zeppelin. Yeah, it's really about the guitarist, not the band. D. Smith says, funny that people revere Jimmy for the riff, yet Angus Young still gets little recognition for doing the same. I don't think that's true, man. Angus is way up there for me. Angus is another master of the riff. He can come out with, and there's such great riffs. And I always say that I only started appreciating AC/DC later in life. When I was younger, I had a good friend of mine, and he's still a good friend of mine. And we always used to make fun of each other. You know how it is when you're in high school. Your band sucks. My band is better. And I would always make fun of AC/DC back then. But you know, here I am now in my 50s, and I love listening to AC/DC. They've stood the test of time because it was simplistic, straight ahead, no bullshit rock. And today it still is simplistic, straight ahead, no bullshit rock. And they never really sold out. You know, even throughout all the different eras of music and grunge and, you know, new wave and pop and all this stuff that happened along the years that they were around, they stuck to their guns, and here they are still doing it. So hats off to them, and I give them a lot of recognition. 2 Yard says, listen to Ramble On, absolutely the best. Yeah, one of Jimmy Page came out with so many cool songs. It was amazing. I don't even know how he did it, honestly. But Ramble On is great. Not just guitar, everybody's performance on that song is fantastic. Fix or Repair Daily says, so if all music heads for AI, will we still need great guitars and amps? Will the industry disappear to be replaced by apps in AI gadgets? That's my fear. That's what I was mentioning earlier on. It's like, why are we even practicing? You know what I mean? If it's all going to be AI generated, why do we even need to know how to play guitar? You know, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this stuff never disappears. And I'm still going to love my guitar collection, even if I'm the only one hanging on to guitars. But only time will tell, man. I don't have a crystal ball on that. I really don't know. Farid said, Tony, nice looking Jackson. They don't look like stock pickups. They're not, as I mentioned earlier. These are not. The stock pickups are zebra stripe. How come you can hear me? Okay, I was hiding my microphone, sorry. Zebra striped pickups were originally in here, and I took them out and I put in a different set of pickups. But I still have the zebra stripe ones. Zarly wants to know, is it a kit or are you making it from scratch? It's not a kit. It's a bunch of parts that we're putting together. So should be very cool. Farid said, I only saw AC/DC once on the Razor's Edge tour. They were incredible and energy was through the roof. Yeah, until recently, man. The energy was always there. And I still see Angus Young running around on stage, even though now he looks like my grandmother. But I still can't believe he's doing it. He's doing stuff I can't do at his age. Crazy. So, yeah, hats off to them, man. All right, guys, I think we've been talking for about an hour and a half. If you have any last minute questions, comments, suggestions, I'd love to hear. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you missed the trailer video, the chance for you to win a spot to appear on the live show through video, of course, with me and answer questions and talk and be part of the whole production is still going on. I'm going to extend it a little longer. So we said the cutoff date was going to be end of August. I think we're going to extend it. We'll probably extend it for a few more weeks and see how it goes. So if you have access to a video camera, and you have a YouTube channel or you have some place to post your video, make a short video, tell us why you like the channel, post it up, and the people that get the most views on the video will win a chance to be on the show as a guest. And you don't have to be a guitarist. It doesn't have to be, that. As long as you're a musician and you love what we're doing here, you're welcome on the show. All right? So let me know if you post a video. I'd love to see what you can do. Jean-Pierre says, I saw Jimmy Page live twice, but Beck only once. I know Page's music a lot better than Beck, so that tells a lot. I'm jealous that you actually got to see Beck. I never actually saw him. I would have probably loved that a lot. All right, guys, I think that's it. I don't see any more questions for the moment. Thank you for making the live Sunday show pleasant again for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my upcoming videos coming out this week. Mark the 21st of September on your calendar if you like THU over loud. If you don't like it, it's probably because you never tried it. Give it a try. I think you're going to like it. And we'll see you again next week. That's it for now, guys. Stay healthy. Play your guitars. Have lots of fun. Life is short. Enjoy. Talk to you soon.